Hello friends, my name's the real Emile. If you want a fast sports coupe, as you'd imagine, you'd be spoiled for choice. However, you may notice a recurring theme. They are almost all German. And while there is nothing wrong with buying German, you may perhaps want to buck the trend. So what are your choices? Well, you have the very brilliant Jaguar F-Type, or this, the new offering from Lexus, the RCF. On the face of it, the RCF seems to be aiming its shurikens right at the throat of the BMW M4. It has a front-engine rear-drive configuration with a luxurious cabin and is only available as a two-door coupe. The RCF seems to go for the modern Lexus styling, with the most prominent features being the sharp angles and massive grille. Overall, I personally am not a fan of the styling and think it's a little overstyled, just like most modern Lexuses. The first thing you need to know about the RCF, however, is statistically it has the edge, at least at first. The RCF is powered by a naturally aspirated 5-litre V8 engine, a nice change from the recent influx of turbochargers and V6s. The RCF produces a healthy 467 horsepower and 388 pounds-feet of torque. However, the RCF does have a downside: the weight. The RCF weighs in at a hefty 3,957 pounds. That's heavy. In fact, it's almost 2 tons. Still, as we have learnt previously, let's not judge a book by its cover. So, how does the RCF drive? Well, it's fairly nice. In the corners it handles well, having good grip all round, with some understeer being present, which can be a little problematic when pushing the vehicle. The suspension is also worth a mention, as I found it to be a little soft when compared to its rivals, and on a track, it may cause some issues. The brakes are decent, with the car getting stopped reasonably well, and straight line speed is good. The RCF goes from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 4.4 seconds, and will surge at a reasonable pace to 185 miles an hour. Overall, I would describe the RCF as a decent car, nice and controllable, and with some tweaks, it could be a good track car. But is decent good enough when you compare it to some of its rivals? This is one such rival. It is the BMW M4. It is essentially a two-door M3, which is the car that has had motoring journalists going cross-eyed for years. And on the face of it, well, it actually doesn't seem like this car will be doing that. It has ditched the old 4-litre naturally aspirated V8 engine for a more eco-friendly 6-cylinder 3-litre turbocharged one. Still, statistically it's looking good, with the power on this car being rated at 431 horsepower, which is more than the old E92. It also has a healthy 405 pound-feet of torque, and unlike the RCF, it does not weigh the same as Venus. Now, as someone who has driven previous M3s, I can tell you that they are usually all over the place. They have a tendency to slide, and don't particularly like newbies. I thought the M4 would be much of the same, but it isn't, because it is fantastic. The M4 is an ace through the corners, with no complaints whatsoever. Within half a lap I was pushing this car and had no issues at all. No understeer, no oversteer, just pure, fantastic grip. The brakes offered by the M4 are better than those found on the RCF, and straight line speed, as you would imagine, is decent, and statistically at least, better than the RCF. 0 to 60 is done for in 3.9 seconds, and at the top line you'll be doing 187 miles an hour. However, the RCF is quicker getting to its top speed, and given a big enough straight can leave the M4 trailing. For me, personally, the M4 is in a different class. I was expecting to be sideways the whole time, possibly ending up backwards in the swamps of Miami going, why did I drive this? But no, this really is a brilliant car. But still, around the track, which will be faster? The heavyweight, or, well, the heavier weight? Okay, so here we are at Top Gear, and we are starting with the RCF. It gets a bit of a smoky start off the line. Actually, it seems like this car has an active wing. I didn't actually realise this while I was driving it, but there you go. First corner, will we see any understeer from the RCF? That was one of the slight issues I was having around Sebring. Not really, bit of smoke coming from one of the back tyres, but other than that, not much drama through there. How are we going to do from here? Ooh, you can see the car understeering just a little bit, however it was reasonably controlled through there, not going nearly fast enough to cause an issue. However, where that understeer may cause an issue is here into Hammerhead, braking relatively late because the brakes on the RCF are actually pretty decent. Around here, are we going to see any understeer? You can see it a little bit there, but no, seems okay. Yeah, seems alright. Maybe a few lift-offs here and there around that corner just to make sure it didn't go on the grass. Through the follow-through, this wasn't going particularly quickly, I believe about 90-ish miles an hour. The RCF's real issue is its weight. We find that with most cars, you know, if most cars are good handling, particularly in Season 2, we found that with the Camaro ZL1. That's a great handling car, but it just weighs too much, which means it isn't quite as quick. And that's an issue the RCF could have. Anyway, around the last corner, and yeah, relatively dramaless lap. Next up, we are in the BMW M4. Now, this has less PI than the Lexus, however, personally I think it drives much better, and the straight line speed actually isn't that much less than the RCF. So I was kind of curious to see how this car would do compared to that one, time-wise. Around the first corner, again, it's a little bit of twitch from the rear end, but no drama whatsoever from there. This isn't like the 650S McLaren, which decided to get a split personality as soon as it came to top gear. The M4 handled great at Sebring, and it handled great here. Straight line speed, as I said, is pretty decent. We get to brake a little bit later in this vehicle because the brakes are much better, and it weighs about 600 pounds less than the RCF. This is crazy light compared to that car. Ooh, bit sideways coming out of Hammerhead though. Got a wheel on the grass, which is never good. Through Hammerhead, this was, through the follow through, this was a little bit quicker than the RCF. Still not amazingly quick round here. BMW, I don't know, it might be a bit too well rounded for this sort of track. Coming into the second to last corner, yeah, that's pretty much perfect. And coming into the last corner, yeah, again, pretty much perfect. Onto the times, and the BMW M4 did beat the RCF by about 0.500 of a second. BMW M4 goes into 31st with a 122.281. Lexus RCF a 122.742. I can tell you the M4 and the RCF were running pretty similar times. The M4 was actually down on the RCF by 0.40 of a second, but it just came out in that last lap. The M4 is the more consistent car out of these two, I will say that much. So, at the end of the day, which of these cars would I rather have? Now, that's actually a tough question. As much as I said how good the M4 is to drive, I'm still not a huge fan of it. It just, it looks a bit dull, and it's a bit of the obvious choice. The Lexus, yes, it's not a very pretty car, but it does drive very nice as far as a road car would be concerned. So I'm really not sure on this one. If we was opening this up to the entire sort of sport coupe class, I would have a Jaguar F-Type over both of these vehicles. So tell me down below in the comments, which one would you rather have, Lexus or BMW? Anyways, I want to thank you all very much for watching, friends. My name's been the Real Emile. Until next time, farewell.